Hello students, this is again your SD sir from the Temple of Excellence. Dear students, we have started discussing the chapter Electric Charges and Fields. And in my first session, we learned what is an electric charge. We learned the properties of electric charge. We learned what is electrification, and I spoke something about induction, charging a body through the process of induction. In my today's session, I would concentrate upon a very important topic called Coulomb's law of electrostatics. A very beautiful topic, a definer which will actually explain the concepts of electrostatics. Coulomb's law of electrostatics. And we shall also study the different concepts that are associated with Coulomb's law. So we make an attempt to understand the statement of Coulomb's law and also to understand the various concepts that are associated with Coulomb's law. Now, to begin with, we shall understand the statement of Coulomb's law. Very important law in your examination. The statement of Coulomb's law is asked as a 1-mark question, and also pretty many times statement with application is asked for 2 marks. And also it is a very important law because most of the concepts of electrostatics is understood through the statement of Coulomb's law. So now let us start understanding the statement of Coulomb's law. To understand Coulomb's law, let us just recall Newton's universal law of gravitation, which we studied in our previous class, where we understood the force of attraction between any two bodies is directly proportional to the product of the mass of those two bodies and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two bodies. My dear friends, entire law of gravitation is formulated with respect to the mass of the two bodies. Coulomb's law goes on the exact straight line, but we state with respect to two charges. Therefore, please listen carefully. The statement of Coulomb's law says that the electrostatic force, very important term, the electrostatic force between two stationary point charges. Key word to understand Coulomb's law: two stationary point charges. Electrostatic force between two stationary point charges is directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the two charges. The electrostatic force is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. A beautiful statement. It says the electrostatic force between two stationary point charges, 2 point charges which are static, 2 point charges which are at rest, is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. My dear friends, we are talking about the electrostatic force. My first PUC syllabus told there are 4 fundamental forces, and the force between any two charges we call electrostatic force. So the electrostatic force between whom? Two static point charges, two stationary point charges. How is this electrostatic force related to the charges? It is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. Therefore, Coulomb's law is also called as inverse square law. Electrostatic force directly proportional to the magnitude of the 2 point charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance. My dear students, if we start thinking in depth, there Newton clearly says force of attraction, but Coulomb mentions it electrostatic force. Why that specification is not done? Because we have already learned charges can be of 2 types. It can be a positive charge or negative charge. And depending upon the polarity, we discuss the interaction. So, taking into account both attraction as well as repulsion between the charges, we say it is electrostatic force. So, by the statement of Coulomb's law, the electrostatic force between two stationary point charges, static point charges, is directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Now, my dear students, let us try to understand the mathematical explanation for Coulomb's law. So, we will try to understand how Coulomb's law can be formulated mathematically. If you observe the board, I have 2 point charges which are separated by a distance what I call as r. R is the distance of separation between the charges. What is the magnitude of the first charge? I say it is Q1. What is the magnitude of the second charge? I say Q2. So Q1 and Q2 are the two charges which are separated by a distance, or two stationary point charges Q1 and Q2, which are separated by a distance R. Now the first part of Coulomb's law says the electrostatic force between these two charges should be directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges. Therefore, mathematically I write F, which is the electrostatic force, is directly proportional to Q1 into Q2, product of magnitude of the two charges. F proportional to Q1 into Q2. And the same electrostatic force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the two charges. Therefore, I write F proportional to 1 divided by R square, inversely proportional to the square of the distance. So the first part of Coulomb's law says F proportional to Q1, Q2. The same F, which is the electrostatic force, is proportional to 1 divided by R square, inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Now, putting these two equations together, I write F proportional to Q1, Q2 divided by R square. Both those mathematical conditions I have written as F proportional to Q1, Q2 by R square. Now I have a proportionality symbol. How do we eliminate proportionalities? I have to introduce a constant. And here I introduce a constant K, which is called electrostatic constant or Coulomb's constant. What is that K called? Electrostatic constant or Coulomb's constant. Therefore, the general form of Coulomb's law says F equals K, proportionality replaced by a constant K, Q1, Q2 divided by R square. So mathematically we know electrostatic force directly proportional to the product of magnitude of the two charges, and the same electrostatic force inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Therefore, F equals K Q1 into Q2 divided by R square. Now, my dear students, the next task for me is to write the magnitude of K. What is the numerical value that is given to Coulomb's constant, and for which I will consider two cases here to write the value of K, numerical value for K, where in the first case I am considering that the two charges are placed in a specific medium. Case 1, I am considering the 2 point charges are placed in a specific medium. When I say specific medium, I say they are placed in a specific material medium. Maybe the two charges are placed inside a glass slab. maybe the two charges are placed inside water, some specific material medium, which means other than free space, other than air or vacuum, I am very specific about the medium, material medium. In such case, the value of K is written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Please do understand this term, a Greek letter, epsilon. So what is the value of K here? 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon when the two charges are placed in a specific medium. Now what is this epsilon? We call epsilon as absolute permittivity of the medium. Permittivity. Epsilon is called absolute permittivity of the medium. Each material medium has its own permittivity value. So epsilon is called absolute permittivity of the medium. Therefore, writing the value of K, the electrostatic force when the two charges are placed in a material medium is written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon, replacing K, Q1, Q2 divided by R square, where I told K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon. Now, dear students, what will be the value of constant when the two charges are placed in air or vacuum, free space? In this case, the value of K is written as 4 pi epsilon naught. Please know this difference. Epsilon naught when the two charges are placed in free space. Material medium, epsilon. When the two charges are placed in free space, air or vacuum, we say K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Therefore, now the electrostatic force mathematically is written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Therefore, even in dreams, if the mathematical form of Coulomb's law is asked, you have to get it immediately. Free space, the electrostatic force is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. A very, very defining expression throughout your physics, throughout your electrostatics. I concentrate on this expression. Electrostatic force between two static point charges in free space is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. If it is a material medium, it is epsilon. So this is the mathematical form of Coulomb's law. Now, dear students, we say the magnitude of epsilon naught, value of epsilon naught is 8.854 into 10 power minus 12 farad per meter. Very important. In numericals we use. Sometimes the data is provided in the exam. Sometimes you need to know 8.854 into 10 power minus 12, and the unit is farad per meter. And on substituting 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is treated to be nearly 9 into 10 power 9. Again, for numericals, very important. My dear students, several times I use the word permittivity. What is this permittivity? When you study your magnetism, you use the word permeability. Now, with electricity, electrostatics, I am using permittivity. What is the meaning of this permittivity? Dear students, permittivity is the property of that medium, maybe material medium or free space. It is the property of the medium to decide the magnitude of electrostatic force between two charges. We told electrostatic force between two charges. How much of force is acting? What is the magnitude of the electric force? That is decided by a property called permittivity, elasticity, property of a solid to stretch. Permittivity, property of the medium to decide the electrostatic force. So when I talk about permittivity, it is nothing but the property of a medium to decide how much of electrostatic force is acting between two charges, and that is what we call permittivity. Now, we go on to a simple bookwork. I told you in my introductory class, where you are 1 markers, you may be asked to write the SI unit of any physical quantity. So now we'll learn to write the SI unit of epsilon naught, absolute permittivity of free space, for which again I consider Coulomb's law, force between two static point charges in free space, F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square. Now I want the unit of epsilon naught. I rearrange that equation. So epsilon naught goes to the numerator on the left hand side and force comes to the denominator. So on rearrangement, 1 divided by 4 pi F. Epsilon naught goes to the numerator, force comes to the denominator. Q1 Q2 by R square. Now we write the units. So epsilon naught equals 1 divided by 4 pi is a number. It doesn't have any unit, scalar, a number. Force has got a unit called Newton. So 1 divided by Newton, and we know the SI unit of charge is Coulomb. Q1 into Q2, C into C, unit for charge Coulomb. R square, distance square, R is meters, meter square. So 1 divided by Newton, unit of force, Q into Q, Coulomb into Coulomb, divided by distance square, which is meter square. So you have Coulomb square, Newton meter square, which is going to the numerator, Newton minus 1, meter minus 2, Coulomb square, and this is the SI unit of epsilon naught. Newton minus 1, meter minus 2, Coulomb square. Now, on analysis, can I treat Coulomb's law to be universal? Which means to say, can Coulomb's law hold good for all situations, or do I have any limitation with Coulomb's law? May be asked as a one marker again to write the limitation of Coulomb's law. Yes, Coulomb's law is not a universal law. Coulomb's law cannot be applied for all situations. It has a limitation. What is that? As we studied, it stated electrostatic force between two stationary point charges. What if the charges start to move? Can I apply Coulomb's law for moving charges now? No. Can I apply Coulomb's law for charged bodies? No. Point charges. Coulomb's law is applied only for stationary point charges, static point charges, but not for charges which are moving, charged bodies which move. So the limitation is very clear. Coulomb's law cannot be applied for moving charged bodies. Next, again a bookwork where I need to define the SI unit of electric charge. Most of the times asked question for one marker. Define the SI unit of electric charge. Most of the times what do you do in the exam? You look at the word SI unit of electric charge and immediately write Coulomb. Yes, correct. But what is the question? You have to define that Coulomb. It is not mention the SI unit of electric charge. It is to define the SI unit of electric charge. So my dear friends, which is the SI unit of electric charge? Coulomb. How do I define Coulomb? Yes, we follow here. Now, Coulomb is the practical unit, SI unit of measuring electric charge. Again, I consider 2-point charges separated by certain distance in free space. Why free space? General situation has to be considered. 2-point charges separated by certain distance in free space, and from Coulomb's law, the force, electrostatic force between them is written as 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square. What am I doing here? I am defining Coulomb. So to define Coulomb, I will make some conditions. And what are those conditions? I say, if Q1 and Q2, both of them are equal to plus 1 Coulomb, the magnitude of both point charges is plus 1 Coulomb, and they are separated by a distance of 1 meter. 3 beautiful conditions. Which is the medium in which they are placed? Free space. What is the distance between the two charges? 1 meter. What is the magnitude? Both of them have a magnitude of plus 1 Coulomb. Medium of placement, free space. Distance of separation, 1 meter. Magnitude of both the charges, 1 coulomb. So what happens to this expression? Q1, Q2, both of them 1 coulomb. Distance 1 meter. So the expression reduces to F equals 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. And I told, what is the value of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught? Which is 9 into 10 power 9 newtons. So by these considerations, how do I define the SI unit? Coulomb. Remember, 3 critical points. Free space is the medium. Distance of separation 1 meter. Magnitude of both charges 1 coulomb. So what is coulomb then? Coulomb is that charge. Very naturally, coulomb represents a charge. Is that charge which is placed at a distance of 1 meter. Coulomb is a charge which is placed at a distance of 1 meter. In which medium? In a medium of free space. It is placed at a distance of 1 meter in a medium of free space from an equal and similar charge. See, I am using a term equal and similar charge. Why equal? Both of them have the same magnitude, 1 coulomb. Why similar? By polarity, both of them are positive. So what happens? They are like charges. They have to repel. How much is the magnitude of the force? Repelling with a force of 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. So what is Coulomb, my dear friends? It is that charge which is placed at a distance of 1 meter. In which medium? Free space. From what? From an equal and similar charge. Why equal and similar? Same magnitude, same polarity, hence they repel. What is the magnitude of repulsion? 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. So, what is Coulomb? It is that charge which is placed at a distance of 1 meter. In which medium? Free space. From an equal and similar charge, repelling with a force of 9 into 10 power 9 Newton. Now, coming to the key application, we will try to understand and write Coulomb's law in vector form. We will be trying to understand the vector notation of Coulomb's law. Now, my dear students, again I consider there are 2 point charges, Q1 and Q2, again placed where free space, general condition, separated by some distance r, and immediately we told there has to be an electrostatic force, and that force we wrote as F equals 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by r square. But my question is, will Q1 exert a force on Q2 or Q2 exert a force on Q1? Will the charge Q1 exert a force on Q2 or will Q2 exert a force on Q1? Newton's third law says both of them have to exert a force equal in magnitude on each other. So in the first case, I consider force acting on Q2 due to Q1. Q1 exerting some force on Q2. Force acting on Q2 due to Q1. My dear friends, if you analyze this expression for force, mathematically some expression, there is a lucidity there. Physically, something is not proper. It is not balanced. Why? If I observe, my left hand side force is a vector quantity. I require magnitude as well as direction to represent force. But what about my right hand side? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is a scalar, a number. Q1, Q2, again charge, which is a scalar. Or distance, again a scalar. So left hand side is a vector, but all my terms on the right hand side, they are scalars. How do I balance now? My dear students, I have to introduce a vector on the right hand side such that on its introduction, the original meaning of that expression still remains the same. I repeat, to physically balance this expression, I need to introduce a vector on the right hand side such that its introduction will not alter the physical meaning of my expression. And how do I do that? The best way, select a unit vector whose magnitude is 1. And what does unit vector always show? Direction. Significance of a unit vector, it always shows direction. So I select a unit vector, its introduction, because of its magnitude being unity, will not alter the expression and still makes it a vector. Therefore, I write vector F1, 2, which only means force acting on Q2 due to the charge Q1 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 divided by R square 1 2. Again shows the distance between the two charges. But remember here, R cap 1 2. The moment you write cap, unit vector. All other vectors directed by the line segments. But unit vector, unique, has a cap or a hat on its head. R cap 1 2. See, the magnitude of this is 1, which means still I am getting back my expression. But I have also introduced a vector balancing the vector or the physical nature of that expression. So what was R cap 1 2? It is the unit vector which is directed from Q1 to Q2, because I am considering force acting on Q2 due to Q1. Similarly, force acting on Q1 due to Q2, F21, which means force acting on Q1 due to Q2 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 R square 2 1. Again, distance between the two charges. Now again a unit vector. Coulomb's law in vector form. R cap 2 1. Now what is this R cap 2 1? It is the unit vector directed from Q2 to Q1. So my dear students, very clearly here we have learnt the statement of Coulomb's law? How do I analyze Coulomb's law with respect to the mediums? How I use Coulomb's law to define the SI unit of charge? And finally, Coulomb's law expressed in vector form. So please do remember, electrostatic force between what? Two static point charges is always directly proportional to product of the magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance. Coulomb's law is also called inverse square law. Now, before proceeding, a small bookwork, a small assignment. Using Coulomb's law, I want you all to derive an expression for force between multiple charges. I did it for two charges. Now use the statement of Coulomb's law, the same statement of Coulomb's law, to derive an expression for force between multiple charges. This will be your assignment. If you don't get, I'll start up the same next session. Until then, revise Coulomb's law, understand its applications, and do your homework assignment. Thank you all.